Hello there, this is Cookies. I've got turn what should be 64. Let's go ahead and check this out. Yep. So a little bit more site searching. We're just continuing to mostly uh, scale our gem banks at the expense of a lot of other stuff. But we are managing to avoid being coalitioned still. We throw up a couple of forest domes though. So we do take only one turn's worth of nature income to do that. And that's mostly from talking with Machaka. He was showing off his big fire gem bank and talking about flames from the sky, so we wanted to be able to protect ourselves from that. And then we get the storming of Sceleria. So this is what's left of Sceleria. It's a pretty large mage core. We've got a troll mage. In terms of what's here, we've got a lot, but not all of the Nidavangr army. He's sent enough that he think can win, but has left enough to continue locking down the cap if he doesn't. But yeah, we've got a Crucible of Stone Adept, and then another fair number of Earth Boots. We've got this guy with a Cornucopia, a couple of Thistle Maces. Bloody Mary's got a bunch of Death Gems. It's got this Grand Thaumaturg with a bunch of Death Gems and Pen Gear. A bunch of Water and Death. And a bunch of Death. Some more Pen Gear and Astral Gems. Some Air Gems on this guy. Shield of Meteoritic Iron for the power of spheres. And then a bunch of Nature Gems on this Shaman. Another well-equipped Shaman with a bunch of Astral stuff. Although also has a Thistle Mace, which I think might be a little weird. And then we've got a Nidhir Thug, an Implementer Axe, and a Horror Helmet. So he's Fear 15, but going against Sceleria, that doesn't mean a ton, since they rely on Long Dead. And then we've got a Gatecleaver Jarl. A number of these Scalarian cultists still have their Amulets of the Dead, so he hasn't bothered to pull off items, so that there is a bit of a loot potential here. We've got Skull Mentors, Lanterns. This Thaumaturg has some pearls. This one also has some Death Gems. The Troll Mage has a bunch of Glamour. We got a Creon the Warrior Mage who has lost an eye, but has no gems to go with his Eye of the Void. So maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity. And then we've got 6 air gems on this white mage for Nidavangr, and then another white mage with Astral and Death gems. So these are Twiceborn Crow Clan. And he's got a couple of big water mages from the Wolf Clan. So I'm anticipating a lot of big magic, especially from Nidavangr. But, also some from Sceleria. So I'll go ahead and let you guys watch the battle. So here we see the gate working against Sceleria. I think this fight would have gone a lot better for them if they were able to take it outside the fort. And we have the route. Those are big gifts from heaven hit on the white mages. I think we can speed it up a bit. Now, keep in mind, this was all under rigor mortis as well, but one of the issues with relying on rigor mortis against Nidavangr is every time you kill a Scar Soul, they get a fatigue reset on the Nidbethad. And then it's also an MR check. So when they do go to sleep, if they've got decent MR, I think they've got because they're asleep, you get more fatigue back. And then if you're also reasonably likely to pass the fatigue check, I think you can hover around 100 a fair amount if you've got high MR. And so yeah, the army just doesn't go to sleep in the way that I think Sceleria was hoping, and you can kind of see how badly rigor mortis has been nerfed. So okay, so and this is the main entertainment for this episode because I'm still just scaling my gems. So let's go ahead and watch this again. We'll see what buffs are cast. A few of these mages are killed, but we've got a lot of point buffing, a lot of quickness. I think what we'll do is we'll go to around round 5, and I'll go through some of the commanders and see what they casted. Alright. Oh, I'm getting lit up on Discord. Let me see. Alright. So, in terms of what we've got for casting, Body Ethereal was interrupted. Yeah, just a lot of interrupted casting. We've got some Earth Shatter hammers. This one got hit pretty hard by bone grinding, some more earth shatter hammers. Yeah, just completely getting interrupted everywhere. It was a pretty big bone grinding cast by Sceleria. And let's see, we got a Banelord, Temper Flesh, doing some self buffs. This guy managed to get off Howl. Oops. It's I closed Discord, so now they're coming through my phone. Alright. Then we've got Temper Flesh and Heal. Let's see, this guy's doing Nether Darts. We've got Bone Grinding out of the Pretender. I think if you're going to do bone grinding, you want to do a lot of bone grinding. But it does work for kind of ruining the attacking army. Okay, so we've got, I think, 2 bone grindings. Oh, do we not get to see what you cast anymore? Frostfen. Something is bugged with these logs. Something's clearing the logs occasionally. We got Frostfend. This one, the log didn't go far enough to like catch the beginning, but I'm assuming it was bone grinding. Or no, this is probably the rigor mortis caster. Okay. And we got Will of the Fates. Serpent's Blessing, Relief, which is huge for also staying awake during rigor. Power of the Spheres, and then we've got Doom. And yeah, so this is kind of a mess to look at. Fanaticism, there we go. Horde of Skeletons. Yeah, we're just not catching a lot of it, so we might have to watch this again a bit. Let's go ahead and jump back in. All right. Let's see. Looks like we've got Featherweight Army from the white in the center. I don't see any big casters, it's just Animate Dead at the back. Anything new? Not too much. So it looks like he was a little bit more worried about Earthquake. Earthquake would have been a great way to clear all the skeletons, but it looks like Sceleria had Soaring Army. We've got Strength of Gaia, Steel Slice Warriors, Earth Shatter Hammers. Okay, I think that's most of it for the Nidavangr side. We can go ahead and look at Sceleria. Big communion setup. We've got Army of Shades. Okay. We've got even a Sabbath over here. Interesting. Campion Progeny. Got a little bit of luck. Now, I'm definitely missing some stuff, but we do have Soaring Army here. We've got Rigor Mortis down here. We can see that little bit going up. But more group luck. The group luck is, I think, a good call because it should only go on the humans. I don't think it affects inanimate or something like that. Um, so Soaring Armory goes off just before. Then we got Power of the Sepulchre. We've got Life After Death. Okay, so stuff becomes white mages, which is useful when you burn out the communion. You get a second life on it. I'm not 100% sure if they stay in the communion, but I think they should. Decree of the Underworld. Interesting. Gift of Displacement. Suppose we can click on a few units, but we'll do that in a little bit. Yeah, we got Frostfen, just came up here. Featherweight army from Sceleria coming out a little bit late. Round 6 is, if you're going to put it up, it seems late. Astral Healing. Okay. I don't know if imps are the answer. Alright. So let's click on a few units. So, okay, so that's not everyone. But we do, alright, so we do have some sort of, was it Wave Warriors effect? We've got the Featherweight Army, Soaring Army. There's been some blur buffs handed out. No anti-magic, which I think is a big mistake. I do think you want anti-magic because that helps a lot against banishment. Although maybe that guy got interrupted, you never know with a fight this big. And then, oh no, maybe, oh, was I clicking on morale? Okay, so he did get anti-magic, I think. Let's check one of these skeletons. Yeah, so he did get anti-magic, okay. And then I think that's a lot of it. We did get Frostfend, which is easier to see on these guys. And then was that Will of the Fates? Or was that point buff? Looks like it might have been a point buff. And then all these guys are cursed. So we see Doom from Nidavangr. Let's go take a look at their army. Let's see. So we've got, I don't know if it's army region, but definitely some, yeah, I think it was mass region rather than army region. We do have some Steel Slice Warriors. We've got a lot of quickness point buffs. We had Earth Shatter Hammers for the stunning effect. Looks like we got Arrow Fend, because I believe everyone's covered in that. We have resists across the board, so all the Fens got put up. I think. Except maybe Fire Fend. Protection, no army-wide protection buff. Maybe worried about Grip of Winter. And maybe worried about Firestorm. Although I don't think he should have been worried about Firestorm. So Oaken Army might have been in good play, but he might not have that yet. Machaka and I do have a big research lead over a lot of the other players. And I think it would have been fair to be concerned about Grip of Winter. Do have anti-magic. It's not army-wide larger. I think we had Will of the Fates. No, that's probably just the local buff. We did have the floating army effect. No soaring army though, which I think worked to his advantage because fighting in the gate with his banishment, he had a big edge on evocations and banishment, and I think that helped him a lot. We have a fair amount of mass region though. It just wasn't everyone. Looks like everyone here is cursed. No, not everyone. Just a few of the units are cursed. Yeah, so nothing. I think we're seeing some 7s and some 8s out of these two armies, but not quite the full suite. All right, but we should expect those soon from Nidavangr. In terms of what was lost, Nidavangr loses a couple of adepts, all of the Kamazots, a Crow Clan, who should be Twiceborn probably, Lizard Shaman, a couple of Wolf Clan, and honestly not that many troops. 0 Nidbethed died, lost only 59 Nidalvor. The Zots died, who cares about them? And yeah, and then ends up wiping almost a 2,000 stack from Sceleria with some pretty unique stuff. We had the Cambion, Fountain of Blood, 10 Grand Thaumaturgs, a Troll Mage, we got Illusionist, Warrior Mages, so solid win from Nidavangr. I think he did have he probably had one research level in something that was ahead of Sceleria. It did look like he had a little bit better buff coverage. He did spend a lot more effort point buffing. All right. I mean, he had better stuff to point buff too, so it made sense. All right. And with that, Sceleria is vanquished. Now it's turn 64. And I forget, it might have been this turn or next turn. But Nidavangr and I end up talking. And, you know, it was like kind of talking about game state a little bit. I was like, and I told him, I think it makes sense for you to either coalition me or Machaka. I've got large armies. Machaka has a huge research lead and a lot of Great Eagles and Queens of Air. And so I think I sent him a screenshot of this. He should have been able to, I might have mentioned like maybe a potential throne rush, but yeah, so what my diplomatic play is I would stay peaceful and not really react because I have my own way that if I'm going to win this game, I want to win it a particular way. And which is with the two globals. And so, and you know, a throne rush is, you know, I've seen a few of those, so that's what Machaka wants to do. Then Machaka can do that. So what I offered was I could be like a coalition whip. I won't be directly involved unless they want me to. But what I can do is I can prevent someone backstabbing a coalition on Machaka. And because, what was it? Machaka's plan was to have all of the other powers, so Nidavangr, Kalem, and Ba, kind of like suicide into me, or fight me. You know, I think Naba would do very well against me. I'm less sure. Nidbitheds do extremely well against mannequins. They kill almost infinite mannequins because their scar souls get reset again on the fatigue thing. But I think I do pretty well against a fair amount of, I've got large armies. So I could put a tremendous amount of rating pressure out. Um, I've got a lot of magic, so I could be threatening in that. But I think my two thrones, that would endanger my two thrones and let Machaka potentially rush them, which wouldn't be good for the lobby. And then while the lobby's fighting over my deadlands, Machaka would be fighting for rich Shinyama lands. And then they would probably throne rush. So, he's got all this stuff here, which is how you would throne rush, which I've been trying to keep an eye on with scrying because my scout got patrolled out there. And so how do I prevent that? Because people aren't going to want me to get closer to their thrones than I already am. I do have an army up here. I could try to help out Kalem, although that could very easily get cut off. I'm right next to this Shinyama throne, so I could try to help there. But, I mean, Machaka, I believe they've got 3 thrones, so they need 4 more. And I think Shinyama's got 2. Kalem's got 2, so he only needs to invade 2 of those players to win. He has a few different options for a throne rush. I'm reinforcing this area. I did put the wizard tower down here. So that provides a little bit more siege strength. We're at 2,000 wall integrity. One thing I am trying to do that I hadn't considered before is I might need more temples. So I need to get ahead of my income curve despite my preaching. So I'm doing a little bit of transmute fire. And I'm going to take a few turns and go through all these panics. But I'm probably going to start that next turn, it looks like. But I have started drowning some of the twice-born guys. So I'm going to start doing that. In terms of foraging, we are getting the Scepter of Dark Regency this turn. So we did hit construction 9. We're still doing a little bit of site searching, putting up a new frost dome. I'm going to try and dome a lot of my stuff. I know it prevents magic phase, but I don't have a ton of magic phase. What I need to prevent is flames from the sky, or at least attempt to block some of it. So that's why we're doming up a bit. And what I would like to do that on is end to Miglia to protect these armies, these 2 thrones. This throne I think is less important. It's really far away from Machaka, so it'd have to be someone else attacking it. And we can have our own little war over that, but they might not have flames from the sky yet. And then I've also got some domes over my Lich spawn site, I guess, which is the statue. So we've got a couple of domes here. We've got a couple of domes on our cap, and I'm planning to dome our gathering area in Ildmire. In terms of this, I mean, we're making pretty steady progress. I am planning to spend a bunch of these death gems pretty soon, though. I just haven't made up my mind about it yet. And then in terms of units, here's the Mage Core, if you're interested in looking at that. The goal is going to be getting rid of the upkeep from these 28 panics. Don't think I can do much about the Black Dryads or the Centaur. Yeah, I just don't know what I can do about some of that. There are some troops I could get rid of. I want to keep the Black Centaur, but maybe I don't need trolls, but I really like trolls. They're high MR. I need to get rid of the militia though, and I'm not gonna think about that for a little bit. So I could look at that in my current turn when we get there. Let's see. But yeah, I think, oh gosh, we're already at 33 minutes. So I'll go ahead and stop here and we'll speed run a few turns for the next episode. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.